Recording live from count them, three locations. This is Past the Rock. I'm Patrick, and as always, I am joined by two great men. Jacob, aka Bethke.
Hello there.
And
Continue. Just continue.
Caesar, aka LCs.
So, is the reason you came out of the closet for the intro because of Pride Month? Or is there something else going on?
I completely forgot about the closet aspect of what I was doing. That was just the straight walk towards the camera.
There's nothing straight about that during Pride Month and coming out the closet.
No, it's okay. A Texas Ranger needed to do something about this.
That was my best attempt at recreating Wemby's Game 6 walking into the stadium. I saw him do that, and I immediately went and bought one of these guys.
Happy Eid, everybody.
Corta?
What'd you say?
Is that a corta?
It's a thob.
What is it?
It's all the same. It's a long garment.
Yeah, it's just a Chinese.
No, it's Islam, Muslim.
Oh, okay.
Garb, Middle Eastern garb. It's it breathes very well. I forgot that that my buttons would be open and you would just see my red jersey coming through it. This was a funnier bit. When I originally thought about it, I was gonna just film myself walking down my hallway doing it to try to recreate his, and then I just didn't do that. So I was like, I can just come straight at the camera with it, and it'll all make perfect sense. But yeah, the minute I saw Wemby that video, I went and found one of these at a reasonable price, and
Well,
turns out they're very comfortable. They feel great in the heat, and everyone should get one.
that is sort of why they've had a long-lasting life over
Who
there.
would have thought?
Also, why everyone made fun of JD Vance when he went to India with his wife and decided to wear a full three-piece suit the entire time. India's hot as fuck, my guy, and I think they were doing that in summer. It's crazy.
So that'll give you a little idea of what we're getting into this week. But before we do hit up the basketball, we'll bounce around. I don't know, one or two things here. Officially announced today, the Stars are looking at moving to Plano. I don't think that was really a surprise to anyone.
I think this was the offer, right?
This is the first time that they've officially said anything about it, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a non-binding announcement.
Yeah.
Well, so both of these today technically can fall under that category.
But the Stars one, I feel like I thought I shared this with you guys back when I heard the word, but it was basically officially confirmed 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they were just waiting for the announcement at the right time, I guess.
For someone else to make an announcement?
Or just for it to be the right time of the offseason. I mean, if we were still in the finals, if we'd made it to the Cup finals, we'd be playing right now, and they'd probably push it back further.
Definitely a possibility. I just think that it's not inconvenient that one team would make a big announcement today and then the other one would immediately,
So, yeah, I mean, that kind of sucks for anyone in Fort Worth or, I don't know, fucking anywhere west of Dallas that wants to go see the Stars.
It certainly is, and it's a continuation of what's happening, and it's an issue that downtown's going to have to face. And I imagine this can of worms is easier to just open once we get into, I guess, what is technically the bigger news in that. But
yeah, and I didn't actually see this one, so
tell
me about what happened with the Mavs today.
With the Stars and the Mavs. The Mavs. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Stars was today. Stars was about 4 hours ago when I think they officially announced that they put in the offer. That's why I was like, I don't know. It kind of feels like the Stars did this on purpose, but whatever.
Oh, 100%.
We'll let their beef go to this side. We're going straight into the hoopla this week. We're going to do a little bit of housekeeping here. We're going to talk about the local team first and foremost, the Dallas Mavericks. A lot has changed since they made this T-shirt a possibility. For the better, I would say. I think a lot of positivity happening for the Mavericks right now. You have a talented young player to replace the one you gave away from Peanuts. You have new a completely new ownership, technically, if you really want to remove Cuban from all of this. We definitely know he's removed from it now. You have an entirely new front office and training staff. That's important. You'll have a new coach soon, I would assume. So it's really a lot of positivity.
Didn't they? They didn't hire the Orlando guy.
No, Jamal
Okay.
Mosley is in New Orleans now.
Oh, right.
I will
Right.
I will hold judgment on the new ownership just because of who they are as people. But yeah.
Yeah, obviously that's kind of a part of all of this, but so the Mavericks have decided that they are going to put an offer on the lot that used to be Valley View Mall next to the Galleria Mall off 635 here in Dallas, Texas.
R.I.P. Valley.
That is something we all knew it was possible. We had even talked about Valley View at one point. The thing that I think most people thought was going to happen was that downtown was going to give in to the Mavericks' demands and basically build a luxury arena, replacing City Hall, potentially even controversially. We'll get to that. But ultimately, we kind of all knew the writing was on the wall here. And I think there was even thoughts of Irving, just down the block from me, where the lot is, the old Cowboy Stadium sits or used to sit, that hasn't been used since. So there was a lot of options. Ultimately, this one we end up having. Actually, look, do we still have the photos from last time? Okay, we do. We still have the photos uploaded. So there you go. There's your old Valley View. This will be the lot. Like I said, this road right here, 635 in the middle, just absolute hell on earth.
What about the Chuck E. Cheese?
It is nice that the Chuck E. Cheese is very easy to see now that someone was able to make that a little bit of a joke. This isn't a winning bid necessarily, but it's probably likely to happen. Adelsons have plenty of money. There seems like a path for them to easily finance a stadium, considering this is still technically in Dallas city limits, and that this is still close enough to Collin and Denton County where they're not involved. You know what I mean? It's not quite as simple, but they're close. Like, this is basically basically my first pro of this is that I think the Mavericks understood it's easier to make money in North Dallas than to try to help stave downtown. And it's sure as hell easier to do that than to go to the South Dallas extension of downtown and help them with the Kay Bailey project and all of that supposed to be, because that's really supposed to be a project that helps restore or, even just put any sort of real money in an economic boom to the South Dallas area. And obviously, why everyone might have been positive about that. It's fine. Their business. They decide they don't want to be a part of it. They don't have to be. So like I said, I think they understood that this would help them a lot, having Denton and Collin County literally within maybe 5-10 minutes at worst, like even on traffic days from where they are, because they were really at the edge of Dallas County or Dallas County. It's gonna help them with the quote unquote Braves model. I don't know if it was the Braves or the Bucks who actually deserve this credit, but Atlanta and Milwaukee both had high demands when it came to what the stadiums were going to look like. They were like, if you're going to use all this taxpayer money, this needs to be an economic hub 24/7. This needs to be a place. We've talked about it a billion times here too. So this allows them to. They're next to the Galleria. Obviously, the Galleria has been one of our bigger malls for a while. It's seen some downtime because of a lot of basically every mall in America has. Recently, it's been getting better because now it's really specializing. It's got like the Netflix house thing going on in it. I think it's got some other little projects things where they're finding like little entertainment venues to throw into the abandoned.
What is Netflix house?
It's like basically like
is it like a theater for Netflix movies?
No, it's like a mini theme park for Netflix content. Yeah, it's kind of like a mini Universal Studios is how, like, every floor is like.
We're getting one of those too.
Yeah, but it's for kids. Yeah, but again, this will all be in that area, north area, and then this will probably allow the city of Dallas, the county of Dallas, whatever the municipalities in charge be. basically your ballot, if you live in the county, you're probably going to see a tourist tax pop up soon. And it probably will look a little bit something like what they have in Arlington. And I think that's probably a good thing ultimately, because this is going to be expensive. And let me explain why, because now we got to get to the cons. 635 is literally the worst interstate on earth already. I think if not, it's getting close, right? Like this is truly testing those LA levels of fuckery.
It's been hell my entire life, man. I've lived in Dallas my whole life. It has been hell the whole time.
So this is definitely going to be a concern, and it's basically everyone's number one criticism at this point, I would say. I think pretty much every criticism lobbied so far surrounds that.
That's because they haven't seen the prices for the new premier seat licenses and parking, and
there's plenty of outrage to come, no doubt. I guess the con to this is that we now officially surrender downtown to the future of Y'all Street, whether that pans out or not. I guess that also means that I had and Stars here, but I guess the Stars have definitely decided that it's not their problem.
They've dipped all the way.
they were like, actually, you're not stealing our thunder. But then the arts are also going to be part of downtown. So I am interested to see if this is good, a net positive or negative overall. At the moment and in the interim, this is definitely a net negative. Like there's a lot of economic negativity coming out of downtown right now.
But it would still, excuse me, it would still be pretty much Dart accessible though, right?
No.
Is it not?
What the new arena? No, there's no train line going that way.
Nothing goes up north.
No, and if you remember our conversations there, actually those train lines have been threatened to get cut off if they haven't already been cut off, because taxpayers don't want to pay for those up there because they're all rich people who can drive cars and want to justify the fact that they spent $150,000 on a car they didn't need to, financing it at some stupid ass rate because they're a sucker. The city was one of the biggest notes that we have coming out of this is WFFA had a reporter say that Cole Sullivan, I believe is his name, said that the push to destroy Town Hall, which obviously became very controversial and was cited as one of the reasons that Dumont didn't want to do that site. I think he already had enough humiliation kink from being here long enough. I think Dumont understandably didn't want to be a part of tearing down that architecture to build a stadium, especially because that probably also hints that they're going to lean heavy on taxpayer money.
Entirely on taxpayer money, I would assume.
So far, we've seen different versions of it. You know, Steve Ballmer famously just paid for his own arena to make himself look better, but then that kind of gets sketchy.
Did he though also? Because what kind of
that's what I mean.
Does he get for
That's what I mean. But he technically financed it independently. So I thought that was interesting that City Hall, Eric Johnson, remember, he'd been the mayor of Dallas for a while. Dipshit decided to flip red. And I think that he did that because he knew businesses were going to start fleeing Dallas. And I think that was his little cheap ass way of trying to save both of his fledgling career, as he was a useless Democrat anyway. And then
also interesting because isn't Dallas one of the cities where mayor basically does nothing? Like
yes, he's also we've just called him a mascot my whole life. And so, November 27, he'll be on the ballot, and I think he'll probably be removed no matter what at this point. And I think that's beautiful because not only is he a mascot in Dallas, he has a hilariously bad tenure when you look at everything that's happened under Eric Johnson's mayorship. It's absolutely hilarious. It could go up there with one of the all-time worst mayoral tenures ever.
But again, it's like that
it's not his fault.
That position in Dallas isn't anything. Like it's
right, but that's not how the history books always remember these things. You know what I mean?
That's right.
People are always going to associate that with his face. That's the problem of being the mascot. If you're the mascot, you're the mascot.
Yeah, that's why you got to get a commission.
If you want, yeah, that or you're the Dallas County judge, like Clay Jenkins. We're getting really local in this fucking podcast,
as we should. The second thing that Cole Sullivan reported that I thought was probably the best nugget, and I hope you guys are ready for this, is I'm going to hit you with an allegedly first, okay? This allegedly was said. but apparently both the Dallas Stars and the Dallas Mavericks were both told by the city manager, I don't know who that is by name at this point, quote, "You don't want to look outside your building to see an Applebee's," which I thought was a pretty funny way to encapsulate.
It's not wrong.
No, but the arrogance and,
to be fair, never mind. Sorry, go ahead.
Like, the bullishness and the arrogance just shows you why downtown is slowly dying at this point, and is basically praying that Y'all Street isn't just like everything else in the financial world, a pump and dump scheme. So we'll see how that goes for them. Goldman Sachs, good luck. You got to save downtown by yourself, because AT&T ran away, the Mavs ran away, the Stars have run away. They're not the only ones too. I know there's more than just that. It's not looking good for downtown. And then, as we were just talking about, there is no train to get to this venue. It is off D&T, so there is some technicality to how quickly you might be able to get around. I'll actually pop up a map right here, okay? This is an extended map of Dallas. You'll see one very small circle, a bigger circle next to Dallas proper in the southern region here. The small one is where the Mavs currently sit. The big one is where they were proposed to sit in the City Hall renovation. And then what you see mapped out, the bottom one, or the one closest to actual downtown Dallas, is the new Mavs arena. The one at the top is the proposed new Dallas Stars arena.
For anyone like me who was confused, we're not looking at the actual trip or the route planned at the top of this map.
Oh, we will be, but this is the zoomed out version. This is the version that we will be discussing.
There we go.
And I like how it really emphasized the pole dance party right there. You just keep it's letting you know where to find some pole dancing.
So we do have some of that. Hey, Keeper of the Grumper. I think I actually have to go to those guys to donate some stuff soon. But yeah, so this is going to be the way. Yeah, this is pretty far, but this isn't too bad for this time. I did try to set the traffic to where it would be like when you would go to the game about 6 p.m., something like that. So this is
except that it can't register what game traffic will be.
Yeah, and it can only register regular traffic. So D&T is an interesting one. It has basically no space. So if an accident happens, everything just gets shut down instantly into one lane, basically. At best sometimes, but usually I don't shut it all the way down. It's just a very narrow stretch of road. So that's the interesting thing with the Mavs. Again, this isn't technically 100% official, but it's basically official. And we will see what that actually entails as we go on. Do you guys have any thoughts or opinions on this? I mean, at this point,
I mean, from when we last talked about it, I was not in favor of that location, because it is like that 635 is the worst. That area is only going to become way more congested than it already is. Like, I know that area very, very well. Went to high school near that area. Okay, listen, it's not a good spot. The land itself, the land that they are proposing to get is plenty big to house a stadium or a basketball arena, right? It definitely is. Like the physical building itself. Now, when you get into the idea of parking and all this, unless you are building up a bunch of parking garages, I don't see where you get enough parking for. And I don't know how big they want this arena to be, right? Anywhere between 15 to 20,000, well, especially now that you
don't
are
have any sort of real plans yet. But I would say that it's probably not just going to be an arena itself. There probably will be an extension of it built to where there can be shops inserted. There can be other.
No, of course, I know the like the Texas Live model for sure. I know that. But taking that into account, all right, that's going to take up space from there as well. So now you're thinking, all right, well, you have the landmass for that, but you don't necessarily have for the parking. And now because of you're gonna have to build a bunch of garages because you don't have a train. You don't have a way for commuters, right? For people to just hop on the dark green line and just get to downtown super easily. There's nothing that's going over there. Dallas is not going to build a train line over there for tons of reasons. Mostly because
that's actually the
people in that
thing
area aren't going to let it.
That's the biggest thing is I do hope that this is almost a way of forcing dumb rich people to finally care about public transit, even when it doesn't apply to them, because it can apply to them. Hey, don't you want to get really trashed and ride a very safe mode of transportation to and from? Don't have to worry about the parking cost. It's very cheap to do it once it's all established. Like, it's not easy. I understand how the infrastructure stuff and the tax bills can be expensive, but ultimately this world of being so car dependent that we can't even work out basic infrastructure is a little insane. And it's like, I understand that it's not everybody's responsibility to get certain people to their jobs and whatever, and you don't have to have a golden heart or whatever. I don't give a shit. It's just even selfishly, you're saving on Uber. Like, it's just, but again, rich people don't care because a lot of times the more money you make, the more isolation you can bring yourself, which is really what they're craving at the end of the day. So
yeah,
is what it is on that one.
But yeah, ultimately, I'm sad too for the downtown arena in that area. I'm like, dude, I would love to preserve the city as much as possible, like certain areas of the city. But the city itself hasn't done itself any favors in that regard either. So it's just one of those like losing battles as like a native Dallasite. I'm like, come on, this team should be located right here because it's so central to east, west, north, south, like all of Dallas, and it's like this centralized spot where the entire city can just meet and enjoy a game. And now that's gone, right? Because now with moving into North Dallas, you are making it so much harder for everybody else. Like for me, for example, that's fine. I'll never have to take a freeway to get to that arena. I know how to get there without it. But if you're in West Dallas, if you're in East Dallas, if you're in South Dallas, especially if you're in South Dallas, that commute's going to be even worse.
I think the funniest part is take it from Patrick's point of view. So if we're coming from D-Town, okay? You're obviously happy with this because the stars are going to be much more simple to get to. Train being the exclusion. Again, you have to remember that people here prefer to drive and to drink and drive.
I don't think it's simpler going out.
It's closer, right? It's 31 minutes from you, more or less. I'm looking it up right now.
Into Plano?
To get into Plano, because essentially you just cut over once you get to Capel.
Didn't know. Okay.
But again, you're going to have to trust using some heavy duty stuff. And of course, the funnier part is, will it be faster to drive to the new arena or the downtown one from Denton is an interesting question for the Mavs, because obviously there's about 30-40 minutes of drive difference, you would think, maybe 20-30 between where the stadium is sort of directionally, like, because you have to get off at Farmers Branch to go that way on 635. But if 635 is so fucked up from that way, like, I just also wonder if it would be easy to get to. Like, there's just a lot of this that cracks me up a lot. And I can't help but laugh at it. But like I said, I completely understand why they're doing it. I don't agree with it, but I do understand. Basically, they, money.
Yep.
But anything else on the arenas? I think that's all the informationals I have for you guys, because we do have some meaty stuff this week, unfortunately.
I think we're good to go.
We have an official change in the lottery. We have not gotten to talk about it officially, but we have talked about it more or less, so it's not like we have to re-litigate it all. But let's go ahead and talk about the NBA 29-1 vote to move forward with this change. The one abstention would be the Memphis Grizzlies, who obviously were basically the most directed impact by the retroactive way that they are installing these rules. These rules are set to be voted on again after the 29 NBA draft. And I'm guessing at that point they could either be amended or kept as they are, depending on how they like it. But here's the official changes. We have a draft relegation, which is weird and a little confusing to explain if I'm being quite honest with you. Biggest things, we do have 16 teams in the lottery now. We are going to start clustering teams together here where the 3 worst records are apart. 7 non-play-in teams get clustered together. The 9 and 10 play-in seeds get clustered together, and then the losers of the 7 and 8 get clustered together, and that's how they come up with the odds for who gets what. The relegated teams cannot get a pick lower than the 12th overall pick. I forget what all the relegation actually is, but I think you have to actually get in trouble now. I think Adam has to actually relegate you personally. I don't know that there's an exact criteria, but I'm pretty sure that that's what they're doing. He gets to relegate. This is not the same as the San Antonio Spurs rule, which is what we might as well call it, which you see there in the pick restrictions. You can't have the number 1 pick back-to-back years, and you can't have a top 5 pick in 3 consecutive years, which I've got to say is just a stupid rule altogether. But then
which of those did we have?
You can't get a top 5 pick in 3 consecutive years. That's a pretty big overreaction to
was Castle a top 5?
Wemby, Castle, Harper, yeah. And I think that's a bit of an overreaction, and I don't know that it is actually the San Antonio Spurs rule, but it's hard not to think of the Spurs since they just pulled it off.
The last team I can think would have been the Cavs, right?
I'm surprised that this
they didn't do anything with it.
29-1. You would think those bottom feeder teams would fight tooth and nail.
I think there was some interesting. I thought that was an interesting vote too, for it to just be the Grizzlies. But I get where there's some positivity that people think could come out of this. Your pick protection, so you can't protect 12 through 15 anymore, which is just kind of funny and random. Then the second round order, I want you guys to read a couple times there because I could read it out loud, but and I will for everyone listening. But first 16 picks in inverse of first round order.
So it's a half snake?
Yeah, so let me read that again. The first 16 picks of the second round are inverse of the first round order.
So you pick 1 to 32, then 16 to 1, then 17 to 32.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that or not 32, it's 30, but yes.
Sorry. Get some more teams. Come on, be a real league.
Oh well, that vote. I'm still waiting on the vote results for that vote. We never got the announcement on the relocation vote. But anyway, non-lottery teams are going to be inverse of the regular season records. So, like I said, this could be voted against or amended after the 2029 draft. And then, as I said earlier, the league does have more discipline, which league discipline essentially means Adam gets to decide. Reducing your lottery odds, modifying positions, imposing fines. I do find that one to be funniest.
They all agreed to that, huh?
That one was so funny. Yeah, I'm like, dude, this is the most sketchy way you could have given Adam Silver power.
They're just retroactively letting you know that he's already been doing this, but now we're going to codify it.
Yeah, I mean, that's really how it reads. And then let's go into our second graphic here where it's just a numbers breakdown. I'm not going to read all this out loud. It's really just, again, this is from the NBA themselves that released these 2 documents. That's why I shared them. You have a 5.4% chance if you're one of the 3 worst teams. You have an 8.1% chance if you're one of the 7 non-play-in teams. You also have a 5.4% chance if you're a 9 and 10 seed that didn't make it in. And then you have a 2.7% chance if you're the loser of the 7 and 8, which means you're the 15 and the 16 team, basically. So, not a bad structure, I suppose. I guess I can see some of the logic. I definitely think that people aren't happy with it. That seems to be abundantly clear. It doesn't exactly feel like it's answering tanking, but it definitely changes things. So, at this point, we're all going to just roll the dice, and I guess if this just becomes a blip in the radar, it becomes a blip in the radar that might be the worst to have sucked in. Like Adam might have just made it worse for teams to suck, which is basically what most people are accusing him of.
Well, look,
Yeah, I'm ready to be done with Adam Silver as a commish. Just now. Can he go take a corporate job somewhere else?
A lot of tinkering.
Somebody wants him.
That's the one criticism of the NBA I think everybody can agree on. A lot of tinkering. Whether it works out or not, I guess that's for Adam in the long term. You know, he has taken a lot of decisions that are him gambling on the long term and taking losses, you know, or taking PR hits in the interim, which you got to respect. It's his job. We'll see. We have the NBA Europe coming up, like we just hinted at. There might be still an expansion coming. Yeah, I mean,
it's gonna suck for those expansion teams, man. I'm just saying this draft lottery right there is gonna suck for them.
And let's not even mention the fact that NIL might eventually change the way we do the draft anyway, because so many kids dropped out this year. There might even be a non-zero chance that they just do a first round and that's it. You know, like, because if you think about it now, second round picks are like, there's the Austin Reeves path where Austin Reeves was basically like, don't draft me. I want to go undrafted and pick my team.
yeah.
And this has been a model. And so you do almost wonder if the NBA just says, what's the point of continuing to do a second round? But we'll see. That's not even a rumor. That's just me speculating. Any more thoughts on the lottery system? Like I said, nothing super new, just a couple more minor details.
No, I give it 2 thumbs down, and we can keep going.
I still think there's a concept there that, well, there's some of those that are just crazy weird, but as far as just like the overall punishing of the worst 3, I think you could bring that back a little bit, make it like top 10 or something, not only top 12. Shit, even like you're guaranteed to be top 6, but you might be 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a little too harsh on the bottom 3 for sure.
It feels like you could swing that back a little bit because I don't think every team down there is actively trying to, you know, sometimes guys just get hurt. Like, what are you going to do?
But, I mean, the Wizards did do a very funny version of tanking this season where they were already bad, and then they kind of actually did put their chips into the future because they traded for Trae Young and Anthony Davis. But they, at the same time, told both of those guys more or less, don't worry about this season, which is pretty crazy. Like, and Trae Young actually could play and did play, and then they just kind of like at least AD had all the drama behind it, and there was an argument to shutting him down. With Trae, it was more like, you know, honestly, bro, just don't even worry about this season. And like contractually, like I understand why the NBA could feel like there was pie on their face after that one.
Well, I would say any reasonable fan buying an NBA ticket should know there's a good chance you might not see Anthony Davis in a game. There's a good chance you might not see Trae Young in a game.
I mean, this has been a thing for a while, and honestly, I think that really my least favorite Adam Silver change of all has been the games played rule. And, you know, that's supposed to attack that. I don't know that it has perfectly, but, you know.
Yeah, I like a minutes idea.
Yeah, I could live with it, you know, because it's tough. Because, like, how do I tell the Spurs how to take care of Wemby? We don't know how to do that. But then,
it seems like whatever they're doing seems to be working, so you'd want to encourage that.
Yeah, and it did. But, like, you know, I think there's still, if, you know, let's subtract the success the Spurs have had, and let's just talk about it from one perspective. You know, there's still a lot of people who thought or think that he's not worth it enough because he's not an 82-game player yet. You know, but it just feels logical
he's never going to be an 82-game player.
Right. But then the real logic becomes how many guys ever should be 82-game players. And that's really where I think, as much as we love the Iron Man, we don't want a league full of Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, you can be an Iron Man when you only have to run like 30% as much as the guys are playing now. So
it's just one of those things where I think that that's why I don't like the game plays rule, because I don't feel like the Spurs should be punished for trying to manage the body of a 7-6.
I think a minutes count, like a games played or minutes count, either way, I think kind of works. If they offer, like, if either one.
I think they should amend it, but we'll get to those when we get to them. into the other news, Sean Sweeney is now the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks, or not the Dallas Mavericks, the Orlando Magic. Sorry, Mavs fans. That was probably a lot of Mavs fans' choice.
He was a former Mavs assistant for a while.
He was assistant for a while. He was the lead defensive assistant for the team that went to the finals. So I think there was a lot of desire that he would be there and back. Unfortunately, he is now part of the Orlando Magic, which puts Billy Donovan as leader in the clubhouse to be the Dallas Mavericks head coach.
It's strange to announce that in the middle of the playoffs, I think, but I guess because like he's still with the Spurs through the finals, right? So
correct, yeah. So it's not as big a deal in basketball, right?
It's a weird thing to announce.
But like, there's not that much to do. You know, he's not going to take over drafting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so
why
not just wait till his season's over to announce it?
I think because the team still needs to move forward, and I don't think it hurts the Spurs in any way, shape, or form. So they don't mind. So they'll.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter to the Spurs. Like, I mean, we'll talk about them obviously a lot more later on, but I think that it doesn't matter as much to them for him leaving. I mean, they're going to miss him. Obviously, he's a very good coach. He's been deserving of this opportunity. But I don't think that becomes as big of an issue as like when we see the coordinators get told that they shouldn't coach in games for football. I think in football that comes in way more. Why it does, maybe that's a strategy thing. I think there's just only so much strategy that you can actually steal from a basketball team. Like, there's not really like a hidden secret to why the Spurs are so good right now, right?
No, it's more of just like it's just unnecessary for the locker room is focused and locked in on what's happening with this team in this moment, and now here's by the way, this guy's leaving in a couple weeks.
I don't think so because I mean, there's a lot of Spurs that could potentially win a championship and never walk back in that locker room.
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, but that's not.
But they know. I mean, they're
not announcing. They're not announcing. I signed. I signed the
contract. Well, it's not their legal period too. The coaches don't have that moratorium, so of course the teams are going to be more interested in it, and they're going to. It's just a part of the business. I mean, it's similar to college football where you wish they would give them a more clear period to do this, so that it was better for everyone. But at least when it comes to these jobs, it impacts far fewer people. You're right. Basically, maybe a weird locker room, but even then, I think most of those guys should be happy for him, and they know the game. Like the assistants are trying to progress just like they are. Now we bring ourselves into sad coaching news. Rick Adelman passed away yesterday. Rick Adelman, probably a Hall of Famer already. I think he was named in the Hall of Fame. Played 8 years as a player, not a Hall of Fame player, but a good journeyman's career. His Hall of Fame resume is from 29 years as a head coach in the National Basketball Association. Got started off in Portland with the Clyde Drexler Trailblazers of the 90s. You'll remember they lost 2 finals, one to the Pistons, and then the other to the infamous Michael Jordan shrug game when, if you remember, and sorry to do it, Clyde. Sorry to do it, Rick. Rest in peace. But if you remember, the shrug game was basically Clyde Drexler and Michael Jordan were in a deadlock for who's the best player in the world at the time. And everyone said that Clyde was better because he could shoot threes. So Mike decided to just bury a few in one of the finals games and do the now infamous shoulder shrug. He then took 2 very sad years in Golden State, where he'll just be known as the guy in between the Donnie Nelson Run TMC era that was so positive and nostalgic. And, well, his successor probably is the most infamous coach of Warriors history. His successor would have been PJ Carlesimo. And if you guys remember what happened to PJ Carlesimo when he was the Golden State Warriors head coach, you can just Google Latrell Sprewell at PJ Carlesimo, and you can find out. After that, he took over the Kings job, and he was the guy in charge of the Kings throughout the Bibby Weber Divac era, where they were actually, competing for a championship more or less in a very loaded West. Obviously, Spurs probably in their way more often than not, but some other teams, Mavs, I think, beat them one time. I think Nash and Dart beat them one time, but obviously those Kings had a really good run there for a little bit. His most successful season, no, I don't think it was most successful, but he was the most successful coach for the Yao T-Mac era. He's also well known for having the 22-game winning streak, which most of you guys might not remember. But when I was a kid for that, it was one of the funniest things that ever happened. Because if you recall, Yao Ming is not playing basketball at this point. This is basically, one of the final seasons. And I believe T-Mac is out for most of this.
Most of it, yeah. It's pretty much Linsanity, basically.
No. It wasn't Linsanity.
What you mean like Melo's out, and
it was Rafer Alston, I believe Kyle Lowry. That was how Kyle Lowry got eventually signed in Toronto. He was a big part of that. I'm trying to remember. There was some really funny. Carl Landry, I think, was one of the guys on that team that was like just randomly playing out of his fucking mind.
Was Luis Scola part of that team?
Scola might have been on the team. I think Battier was still on their team at that point. So, like, it wasn't a bad roster. It was just the most random group of ragtag motherfuckers, and they just won 22 straight, which I believe is the second all-time, or maybe third now, because I think we just had the Warriors, I think.
From 07, so that was the 2007-2008 team. I'm going to look up that roster.
Battier, Brooks, Steve Francis, Mike Harris, Chuck Hayes.
Yeah, Chuck Hayes. That's who it was.
Steve Francis was on that team?
Yep.
It was his comeback. He came back to finish his career there.
Luther Head, Bobby Jackson.
Yeah. Dude, I used to think Luther Head was
Dikembe's on that team?
Dikembe was definitely on that team.
The end of Dikembe for sure. Yeah. Rest in peace as well.
I had no idea he played that late.
And then
Steve Novak, Luis Scola, and Lauren Woods.
So Yao Ming, Tracy McGrady era goes kaput. He ends up leaving. He takes the Minnesota job. Doesn't go very well. It's the K Love years. He's kind of cleaning up the mess that was made by the Kurt Rambis administration. And so ultimately all that would really lead to is a bunch of L's for his win-loss record and Kevin Love going to the Cavs. But 29 years as a head coach, Rick Adelman was a big deal. His son is the current head coach of the Denver Nuggets, David Adelman. So rest in peace to the Adelmans, or to Rick Adelman. So, well, hopefully David still got a job forward. And then finally, to wrap up this, the Thunder. We have to say goodbye to our final team that we say goodbye to. Kind of. I mean, the other ones kind of come together. You crown and you say goodbye, and the crown usually means more than the say goodbye at that point.
Yeah.
Which sucks because when you lose the finals, like you did a lot more work than everybody else. But whatever.
Like getting a silver.
Yeah. So the Giannis deal so Thunder are basically that's basically the headline of everybody's talk around the Thunder right now.
Oh, we're not still flaming Chet.
Well, Chet's still a big part of it. J-Dub is a big part of it.
I guess Chet's already locked in, so there's not much to talk about there.
Well, I think the issue is that as soon as this happened, and myself included, I said, "Oh shit, Sam Presti might actually hit the fucking button this offseason because
he's got the picks."
But Bobby Marks did a little video for ESPN, and he basically talked about how hard the Giannis deal would be, to the point where he said it's basically impossible because they're a second apron team. They would need to, I would assume they would need to basically not just unload a bunch of extra money, meaning Alex Caruso, meaning letting go of both of their free agents, all of these different things they would have to do, but they would have to probably make really crafty trades that would be like almost in collusion with other teams to make sure they can fit the exact number Giannis would have to fit under. So it is pretty hard to see them actually pulling the Godfather offer for Giannis, but don't ever say it's impossible. Biggest things, Isaiah Hartenstein and Lou Dort are on team options. I think everyone assumes Hartenstein will go. I honestly think he'll probably go to the Lakers. It makes a lot of sense for that. But the interesting news, we think that SGA is going to force Oklahoma City to bring Lou Dort back, which I actually think is incredible news for everybody else in the league. Because if you're playing 2K right now and you're like, oh shit, we lost the Spurs, we got to get this shit back on. We still got a bunch of positives here. We can do this. First thing you probably would do is go ahead and move on from Lou Dort. And so if he's back at a good price, it's not a big deal, but he's not going to continue to be a starter. He's probably going to be, I mean, you have so much depth here. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say, can he just take the Biombo or the Udonis Haslam role at this point?
if I'm Lou Dort's agent, I'm like, you're an idiot. Go, someone's going to overpay you. Go take some poor team's money. What are you doing?
Is it a team option or a player option?
It is a team option. So the team gets to make the decision on both of these guys, but we're pretty confident they're going to go ahead and let Hartenstein go. They drafted a guy named Thomas Sorber, who was out with an ACL all last year. Really talented kid with the first round pick. So I think they like having him paired with what they currently have in small ball. Then we have, so then you just have to figure that out. I think that Dort was a big problem in this because you relied on him so heavily through the season. And then when you get to this moment where you're playing a team that is just basically 4 guards and the biggest human on earth, you just have to understand it's just not going to cut it, because now it's very obvious and clear San Antonio is your benchmark. And even if you guys are back at full strength again next year, which is fair to say they weren't in this finals round, it's still going to be sort of neck and neck. I think missing Aaron Wiggins was a huge part of this, right? I think that probably screwed them over more than anything. I think he ended up being a really big part of the Lakers series, but he'd also really started to play very, very well. Or it was AJ Mitchell.
AJ Mitchell, yeah.
AJ Mitchell, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, I don't remember.
Wiggins was that's the thing with them, is they have so many guys that play like regular minutes in the regular season, and they get to the playoffs and they just start pulling them in and out however they want.
And they all sound like generic NBA 2K names.
Exactly. So I think that was a huge missing piece. I think J-Dub I think that J-Dub should have just been a scratch from the series the whole time. I think forcing him to come in and out of this series, even though it had positive moments, I think it caused the Thunder to not be able to find an identity they could use against the Spurs.
And it just ends up probably postponing him just getting better.
True, but I really think even just from a basketball standpoint, like that was what they tried to do in Game 7, and it just was way too little too late at that point. And then, I mean, Chet Holmgren, just a completely unexcusable last 2 games especially. There was more than just that, but the last 2...
I would say, 7 might be the most egregious example of what the hell what is... That's what I would expect. Like, that's what I would think would happen to me if I went into an NBA game.
It wasn't good, man. It wasn't good, and it definitely made you think, well, if we got to trade a guy, that's the guy. But like you mentioned,
He's signed for $250 million right now, so I don't know.
And honestly,
I'm not saying other teams wouldn't want him, but it's a big ask, and it's harder to make that work.
And if I'm being positive to Chet, I would say personally,
I think he'll be fine. I think he'll bounce right back.
I would say personally, the defensive stuff is so good with him still. And he was still, in moments, very, very good defensively in Game 7. I think that's really what he needs to hang his hat on. I think they need to make better decisions on why he's standing in the corner, which, again, is probably why Isaiah Hartenstein is not going to be on the roster anymore. Because, hey, Chet, maybe you should be the one manning the dunker's spot more than standing in the corner. So I think that will sort of work together. But, again, if a Godfather deal comes down, don't expect J-Dub and Chet to be off the table, right? It's just hard with the money. And I mean, ultimately, hey, Shade played great. I think he's not going to beat the charges, when it comes to the flopping stuff, because there's a lot there. But I thought he did his job.
There's 2 different moves that he has. One is a more traditional one that I hate, which is when you're not even trying to make the shot, you're just actively leaning into the defender. But he invented his own new one where he just literally twists his hips like 45 to 90 degrees in the air so that when he lands, he will just crumble.
Yeah.
And it's gross, which is annoying because he's a really good player, obviously.
It's annoying, too, because it's not something you can bank on in the playoffs. And I think that was still a part of last year. Like, let's not forget that Tyrese Halliburton getting injured radically changed the winner
how that game was played. I'll never forget watching it on my phone inside of a Chuck E. Cheese when Tyrese Halliburton got hurt.
So, I mean, I do think that the Thunder, 2 things are true. The Thunder were this close to being arguably greater than that Warriors peak. But it ended up being more fool's gold than it was. I mean, think about it. They won a championship. They came back, won 60 games, back-to-back MVP. You have all these guys making all of the, like, literally just interchangeable guys that can average 10 a game and play in you a rotation 12 deep, basically.
I think the thing is they don't have a Steph. Even I mean, Shea's obviously really good, but it's not someone that the whole world is just like, this fucking guy rules.
I still think Shea had many, many moments where he looked like if the structure was there perfectly, meaning J-Dub was doing what he needs to do to make the defense honest, and Chet was just goddamn taking shots, then I think that he would have been very successful against the Spurs. I think their defensive strategy was successful because the rest of the Oklahoma City Thunder started to crumble.
Once they changed it, yeah. I mean, when they were doubling him early, that didn't go very well. But
again, it was a bit healthier, a bit better cohesion from the Thunder. But the Thunder, again, were down two of the most important players in the series because you're going against four guards and a big guy the whole time. So, yeah, I mean, I think that the Thunder are going to retool, but I don't think they have to go crazy. I don't think that they need to do too much. I think they were close. I think the only question I would have is J-Dub's health. Was that a one-year thing, or should we maybe make a business call? That's probably the only real question I would have with them. But you are stuck with Chet, and it's not a bad thing. You just need to know that he's probably going to go bare until he proves himself differently.
I don't think he's going to go full Ben Simmons, so I think he'll be okay.
And just like Ben Simmons, he's still got plenty of use. He's a very elite and useful defensive player. I just need him to know that he's not the two guy.
Well, we'll see what his psychology his psyche is going to be like coming into the season.
Yeah, I mean,
because that was a guy who needed some therapy halfway through that series.
Hopefully, take it personally.
People were saying after his Game 7 post-game press conference that Wemby beat the Ebonics out of him.
That one's good.
I mean,
no.
Yeah, I mean, it is a maturing point.
Which I think that was a reply to what happened to your black scent, which is another just dumb internet joke. Chet Yahoo's funny. What else did we get?
Chet Yahoo. This one was less funny and more just like an actual observation where it's like, yeah, Chet is just gonna have to live with whatever this is for Wemby because it is personal. It just seems like Wemby takes it personal anytime he has to go up against Chet.
Well, he lost to him as a 19-year-old.
Yeah, I mean,
sure,
we'll get to it in the finals preview, but you know.
I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if y'all saw that video sent in the Discord where it's like, I can only count to 4. That was some of my favorite slander regarding Chet's final performance in Game 7.
Folks are struggling.
The Attack on Wemby series, which I still don't really know where to find it. Luckily, someone was posting it on the Reddit thread. I have no idea where this guy's actually posting it, but that's some high quality AI slop, if you will.
Is it? Yeah, it's probably on some Daily Motion or some crap like that.
Well, the person had a Patreon, but I went to it and there wasn't anything there, so I was really confused. But anyways, what else do we have to say about the Thunder? Are we going to look back in 10 years and think Shai's MVPs are just like Steve Nash's and probably shouldn't have had?
No, definitely not, because they won the championship.
Fair enough.
But I also don't say that about Steve Nash's because I understand the argument, especially I know Shaq has a very, very fair argument for 06. No, I think...
or you mean 04 or 05? Because those are Nash's
05. I do think that Nash deserved those because, like, he did change the game. You know what I mean? Like that. I know the Suns didn't do shit, but like he, as a basketball player, is the precursor to Steph Curry as much as anything else.
It's just the best part of being like, all right, well, tell me what valuable means. Oh, it's not defined by anyone anywhere. Okay, then you can literally vote for whoever you want to. Like, I think of a guy like Joe Burrow should win the MVP when he misses 13 games and his team loses all of them.
Exactly. But yeah, so that's basically the hoops. Women's hoops is going. Nothing really crazy to report. I think they're all still under 10 games.
The Wings are doing all right. A little bit of a better start than I would have expected. So.
The team is doing good. There is some negativity to how great Olivia Miles is for the Lynx already, because the Lynx are just killing everybody, and they're doing it with a rookie leading them, and they're doing it without the best player in basketball, Nafisa Collar, playing. Like she's injured, I think, for most of the season, and so. Just very interesting for that. But yeah, a little too early in the W to get too crazy. But yes, the Wings are not.
I saw they were like number 3 in someone's power rankings. I was like, I don't know if I've ever seen them up that high.
They've had like one season where I think Enrique was kind of in the MVP conversation and stuff. But yeah, this is good. It's worked out. I think they've built a really good team. Shepherd has been a really big part of this. That's probably the biggest offseason move, is bringing her in. Now we've got energy and hustle, because it really was just a lot of shot chucking guards for a bit there, and then bigs that didn't really do anything great. So now you have a good mix. You know, a little bit smaller of a team, but they're talented now. Instead of just we have a bunch of relatively small girls who can shoot and dribble, and then a bunch of just really tall girls who can't really do anything but be tall. Like, they've kind of phased themselves away from that model, which I thought was really why they've been so fucking ass the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I remember last year, the one game I went to where it was just Paige running the floor and there's no one's moving, no one can shoot.
Really bad.
No one could shoot even if she got him to the ball or got the ball to him.
That head coach they hired too, I hope he got paid well, because that was the most sitting duck ass job I think I've ever seen in sports.
And the new guy came out, game 1 this year, and was already talking crap to the team.
Yeah, no, they knew exactly what they needed to replace him with, too. You need to take that Cali Surfer Boy vibe back to where he came from, and they hired some fucking douchebag ready to yell and scream at people. Oh, but yeah, that's basically it for now. There's a Commissioner's Cup, I think, will be coming up relatively soon for them, similar to the NBA Cup. But we'll worry about that then. I think now we are into trades. We're trading. We're making trades. We're foozing.
And we'll hit a little video that looks like this. Welcome to C's Ball.
Look at the enthusiasm behind those fake throws. Anyway, welcome to the foosball, the CTE ball, whatever you want to call it. We're talking about some ball. All right. Now, a couple things that we need to get to here. There's been some pretty big trades that have happened today, as of recording. All right. I believe everything started off, or yesterday we had the major news announcement that Myles Garrett was getting traded from the Cleveland Browns to the Los Angeles Rams. Because, dude, say what you will about the Rams. They are aggressive. They want to win. Everything they do has pointed to the fact that they want to win. And this one right here, the addition of Myles Garrett, they trade away a 2027 first-round pick, Jarrett Verse, and then another, I believe it's another first-round pick in 2028. All for the prospects of all in for these next 2 seasons. You don't know how long you're going to have Matt Stafford for. So you bring in Myles Garrett, the number 1 pass rusher in the league right now. You're pairing him up with a top 5 quarterback, or you can say top 10 quarterback with Matthew Stafford, a top 10 cornerback, a top 10 wide receiver. You're loading up at these impact positions. This is a huge move for the Los Angeles Rams. And if you look at it from the Cleveland Browns perspective, they were going nowhere anyways. So more draft picks to definitely help build out that roster. Jarrett Verse, talented young edge rusher. You do wonder, if you are him, you do wonder what the hell you did to deserve to go to Cleveland. But buddy, they will pay you loads of money to tolerate being there. So I do feel
Cleveland,
bad
right?
for that guy because he's going.
Or an Ohio kid?
What's up?
He's from Ohio.
I
Whatever.
I don't know if he's from Ohio. I know he played in Florida State, if memory serves correctly. But yeah, I
Dayton.
can't remember for the life of me.
Dayton, Ohio kid.
Well, there you go. So there we go with him there. I don't really have too many other thoughts on this. What's
He
up?
grew up in Pennsylvania. He was born in Ohio, but he grew up in Pennsylvania and North Carolina.
Gotta love it. So
well, there
we're
you
just
go.
forcing that.
Yes, we're just forcing that Ohio connection there. All right, but yeah,
Steph
Big
Curry
move
was
for the
born in
Rams.
Ohio.
I love
Same
this for
hospital as
them.
LeBron, right?
Anyway, I love this move for the Rams. Listen, they don't care about first round picks anyway, so for them this is meaningless. They're probably going to end up with a late first round pick anyway. So for them, they're like, hey, whatever, get this out of our hands. We don't have to make picks in this round. Plus, they have the assets. Should they ever want to pivot to getting first round picks, they have talent on that roster that they could flip for first round picks if they so choose. I doubt they will, but that is something that they could do. They can always replenish. The way that team is built has been brilliant and nothing short of impressive when you consider most of their in-house talent has not been drafted in the first round. Matter of fact, I believe Jared Verse was one of their most recent first-round picks, and now he's gone. So, by extension, this is them still saying, fuck them picks.
Well, they just traded for the number 1 overall pick, so
There you go. Now, all right.
a few drafts
Now,
ago.
here we go. Anyway, so let's keep this going. We got some more trades. This one was speculated on for months now. I was a big disbeliever, if you will, in this happening, but as time went, the writing on the wall was loud and clear. AJ Brown has been traded away from the from the Philadelphia Eagles to the New England Patriots for a 2027 fifth rounder and a 2028 first rounder. Now, initial thoughts, I'm like, that's it. That's all you could get was a 2028 first rounder and a 2027 fifth rounder. And then you think about it, you're like, oh, well, he was kind of gimping at the end of the last season. He is starting to approach his age 30 season. And with these bigger wide receivers who really rely on a lot of physicality, this is kind of like the down part of their year of their careers. If you look at his career with Philadelphia in totality, it is by far the best stretch of any wide receiver in that franchise's history, which they have not had a lot of great wide receivers step into those scores.
It's like just objectively better than T.O.'s numbers in any 5 years. I don't know how long.
T.O. was only there for a year and a half.
Okay, so in my head, T.O.'s there for like 6 years.
But even then, I believe A.J. Brown's first season with the Eagles was better than T.O.'s first season with the Eagles. So
Crazy.
It's already, even if you account for that 17 game, it's still better. So, yeah, I mean, it is indeed, kind of crazy when you consider it. But that's just how talented this guy is. Now, the writing should have been on the wall when they won the Super Bowl, because 2 days after winning the Super Bowl, he goes on IG, makes this long post about how he's supposed to feel like a champion, but it really didn't. Winning the Super Bowl really didn't do anything for him. The thing that really gets him going is when he beats corners off the edge, and whenever he has a really good game. And everybody should have just known, like, as soon as that post hit, time was ticking on whatever goodwill he had with the Eagles fans, because they don't want to hear that, right? They want the team to win, right? They're like, hey, you should be happy that you get 75 yards, a touchdown, and a win. You shouldn't be happy when you get 150 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a loss. But that is the perception of AJ Brown to Philly fans, that this guy cares more about stats than he does winning. I think somewhere along the line he wants to have big stats and win. He wants both. And so whatever was going on between him, Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, the offense, the whole team, it all led to this. So he's gone now. Eagles already drafted his replacement in Mekhi Lemon. So we will see what the further effects of this will be going into the year. I am rooting and praying on the Patriots' downfall, though. I want that 2028 first-round pick to be a top 5 pick if possible. So sorry to A.J. Brown, to Drake May, but there's definitely going to be some voodoo coming your way. 100%.
Does Rossini get credit?
Oh, she should. She 100% should. Like, you kidding me? She worked for years on trying to fucking downplay the value of A.J. Brown and manipulate the markets and the perception of this, of like, oh yeah, only the Patriots want him. Nobody else wants him. And now you're like, oh wow, way to corner this team into one fucking trade partner. So anyway, I'm sure when the news dropped, her and Vrabel had a celebration of their own in a private getaway somewhere.
I also laughed because someone said that he was mad because he's not the bombshell trade of the day.
That'd be funny.
His trade was like a footnote, and it got leaked way before it actually was official. So I think we knew like hours before they actually officially made the trade.
Oh, for sure.
I'm pretty sure they did it within like literally hours of them legally being allowed to.
Oh, for sure. I mean, everybody knew that this was happening. There was like that wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like, oh, there's nothing in place because you can't have anything in place going into
first rounder, right?
First. It was a first. Yeah, it's a first rounder. It's going to be a 2028 first rounder, and I'm praying that first rounder is a top 5 pick.
You can grab a wide receiver in the first round, so you've already replaced him. It's fine.
Yeah, and I mean it's time for Smitty to show why he was the Heisman winner, why he was a top 10 pick. The Slim Reaper is going to take over for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's been ready for that. So I'm excited for what's to come to the Eagles. Now I will say this is a step backwards. Like this, anytime you lose the talent like this, you take a step backwards. However, we saw with the Seahawks last season. Not saying that the Eagles will replicate what the Seahawks did, but they get rid of Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba absolutely goes nuclear. And I believe Devontae Smith to be more talented than Smith and Jigba. So, or at least be of the same caliber of talent at the very minimum. So I'm not saying that that's what's going to be in store for Smith, but it could happen. You never know.
Big variable change in Seattle.
I mean, sure, yeah, the quarterback changed, but I'm taking fucking Jalen Hurts over Sam Darnold 10 times out of 10.
I'm just saying that stat increase is also based on QB change, not necessarily just wide receiver leaving.
Yeah. Although, I mean, there is a proven connection between Smith and Hurts in the passing game. Very natural, just back and forth between those guys. So I think it's going to be just fine. Now, A.J. Brown, on the other hand, you are going to get force-fed that ball because there's nowhere else to go in New England. So there you go. You're gonna live your dreams out in Boston, the team you grew up for, you're rooting for your whole life, down in Mississippi, which I don't know how the fuck that works, but all right, cool. And realize Mississippi got a lot of Patriots games. Anyway, yeah, we got that. A couple other housekeeping notes that we got. Steelers, Nick Herbig got paid big. 4 years, $100 million extension for the linebacker. I definitely didn't.
He doesn't exist.
Definitely not. $42 million in his bank account.
Who?
Listen, Nate Herbig. Exactly. Listen, this is a lot of money for a guy who's never had 10 sacks.
Blake Kirby? This is
right.
A TV movie actor. Is it Blake Kirby? This is a real human being that exists and got paid heavy money in the NFL?
Nick Herbig, sir. Nick
Herbig?
Yeah, Nicholas Herbig.
Herbig. Yep, there it is. That is
I don't know. That's a real person who somehow got a ton of money. This is all 100 based. This is 100 based on what he could potentially be doing for the Steelers next season, and not based on his production this past season because 7.5 sacks does not warrant whatever he just got paid. Like he got paid genuinely insane money for a guy who I don't see it. I don't know what they're thinking, but hey, their money, not mine. I ain't fucking watching you, Steelers. And then lastly, on the news here, we have our boy Drake London. I say our boy.
That's a name.
He's somebody's boy. That's a name. He gets 4 years, $141 million extension, including $100 million guaranteed. He is a very rich man now. Congratulations, Drake London. You are a genuine number one receiver in this league. It remains to be seen how he's going to live up to this deal when he has no real quarterback to throw him the ball.
Oh, he is. He exists.
There you go. So have fun getting the ball thrown to you by either Tua or Penix, or maybe a secret third option that we don't know since those two live in the IR tent. So either way, congrats to him. All right, last and certainly not least, the moment that you have all been waiting for maybe 2 weeks now. I don't know when I first teased this, but it's time for the announcement of the Head Coach Fight Club, the 2026 Head Coach Fight Club. Whew. Now, in previous iterations of the Fight Club, it's been pretty standard 1v1, right? There has been some shenanigans, if you will, with the Primetime Rewind. We've had losers brackets. We've had all kinds of different ways of shaking this up. We've had the wheel of the type of fight scenario that the combatants would be under. But now we have something different, something that may only be once in a lifetime. And that is the Head Coach Fight Club Tag Team Edition. That's right. For what might be the only time ever, we will have our head coaches, a partner in their corner to help them win their fights against rival coaches. And who is that partner, you may ask? Is it an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator? Is it the owner, the team owner? No. No. Something even better. All right. And something that can actually help with creating a tail of the tape, because we have their measurements. And that is the team's designated backup quarterback. All right. These backup quarterbacks are expendable and therefore easy to use as human meat shields in this fight to the death. So you may be wondering, how are we going to determine here in June who the backup quarterback is? Well, there is no perfect way of determining this other than we will be using.
I like how funny and awesome this plan is, but how funny it is to also try to guess backup quarterbacks for every team and be sure about it at this point.
Oh, listen, this is just guesstimation. All right. At the end of the day,
I'm saying we have access to the whole QB room, not the starter, but everyone else
except for the starter.
So that is in that sense, yes, we will have access. So this is what we're going to work off of for the audience at home, and then for my co-hosts here who are hearing this for the first time as well. We're going to be using the ESPN depth charts for this because a lot of these team depth charts, when you go to their own personal websites, are not ready or are not listed. At least with ESPN, they have a guesstimation as who they think will be the backup quarterback, right? Now, you have situations like Cleveland where they're all backup quarterbacks. Even the starter is a backup quarterback, okay? And that one, we can make these teams. Listen, for these trash fire or these trash dumpster fire teams, this is what I'm going to propose to you.
Have the starting quarterback? If the starting quarterback has ever been in a Pro Bowl, they're not allowed. So that's a pretty big window. Oh wait, but no, then there's going to be random dude. Because Brissett is the starting quarterback of the Cardinals. I feel like that's just as good as being.
Well, guess what?
Gardner Minshew or Carson Beck at this point.
I think Gardner Minshew would be funny. I think Carson Beck looking like that one creature from Ice Age. if he ends up being in the Fight Club, that's going to be even funnier. So there's a lot of funny potential scenarios here.
Well, Baltimore's
And so
going to
you
be
will
the
find
best.
out-
So yeah, it is better we do this now before they make cuts, because then we get to have access to Diego Pavia and shit like that.
Yes. So we will pick backup quarterbacks based off these depth charts. All right. Now, for teams that are like, oh, there's going to be QB competition, we're just going to go with the guy.
league.
Oh yeah, he's been in the league for a hot minute. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities for us to debate amongst ourselves off camera who to put into these fight clubs. And either way, you are going to get some great, fantastic scenarios because, nonetheless, despite there being a tag team, we will still be having the Fight Club fight scenario wheel, if y'all remember,
Right.
to still help us determine the type of fight that these coaches and QBs will find themselves. All right. I don't believe that I want to do a loser's bracket in this case. I think there's plenty of fun to be had the way that this is. So I look forward to having yet another rousing fight club. Will the Atlanta Falcons have yet another champion on their hands? I know they didn't last year. Who was our winner last year, Patrick, off the top of our head?
Oh, off the top of
It was
my head.
Patrick. It was Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, who
God damn
who
it.
retired as champion.
I must have blocked that out.
Pete Carroll was the champion. He's retired now. So there has not been a single defending head coach Fight Club champion in this entire time. So we'll see what happens this year. A new champion is guaranteed to be crowned. Will a new coach or a new team be crowned as well? Because the Raiders could still get one out. I mean, Fernando Mendoza, it's a big guy.
Oof. Oof.
Y'all want to see Fernando Mendoza get crazy? Anyway, so yeah, that does it for the CTE ball portion. I will
Kyle
have a start date
McCord.
for the. LOL. I will have a start date for this for you guys later because
I'm
I don't know.
actually
if it's-
learning a lot
next-
about this, and this is there's a lot of funny quarterbacks in the league, just in various positions. Like many names that I'm surprised to see here.
Hey, one
Well-
sec. I'm gonna pause real quick.
Oh, that means we have access to Fernando Mendoza.
That's true.
Yes, as Caesar said.
Oh man,
Just read- I might have
you
been
guys are all
reading
excited
these.
for Shane Buechele to throw down. I don't even know who he
Yeah.
plays for, but yeah.
I did see his
Colts?
name on someone's roster already. but
He's
I
a
don't remember. I've
he's a
gone through-
billiard.
I've gone through almost all of them.
Oh, he's
Uh,
oh nice.
There's a lot of them I
Um,
don't know who the fuck these
yeah.
people are.
well, I guess that means it's time to.
Cole Payton. Tell me about. I need a Cole Payton update.
Oh no, the Eagles will be represented by Andy Dalton, 100%. The Red Rocket,
Sorry.
he's 100% throwing it down. But anyway, instead of talking about NFL coaches throwing it down, let's hear about what's being thrown down in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, you'd think I would have been ready with something.
And I'm not even doing the right league. What is that?
Anyway, let me just say
Oh, yeah.
this. I hate that the NBA Finals patch itself is now on the back of the jerseys because
No, it's actually way
Sponsorship.
funnier, and I'm happy that it happened this way because it says
America
America
250.
250 and visit Abu Dhabi on the Knicks jerseys. So I think that's actually very funny.
oh yeah,
Actually,
oh yeah,
really
it's very
enjoyed
on the
that.
nose.
But we do get the logo returning to the court.
Jerry West,
Well, he's I don't
the
know.
logo.
Well, no, I don't know if he's on any of the. Anyway,
No, I was just making a
I
logo.
know, but I
joke.
actually was thinking if he was on any. I don't think the NBA's logo is actually on
The finals logo? No.
But the Larry O'Brien is back. Somehow, miraculously, they have figured out a very crazy innovation. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. They were able to paint it on the court like they do the rest of the safe stuff instead of applying a sticker like lazy assholes. It's incredible that it took them this long to come to this. realization, this financial decision, I would assume, because it's just so stupid. And I do actually think that despite having this really fun run where we haven't had a repeat champion since the Curry KD Warriors, that is a real stain on what's been going on with the product because it doesn't look visual. The in-season tournament looks visually more different. And then the rule that they were levying on San Antonio this playoffs has to go. The Fiesta theme is what they want to do. They need to be allowed to do that throughout. I think it's still fun for them to do black, and I think they should from time to time. But if Fiesta is the way they want to do it, let them do Fiesta. Like, I think if there's anything positive about this Wemby, there's a lot of positives about this Wemby thing. But the biggest one for me, as sort of the agnostic here, is this guy is really trying to force the issue on lackadaisical celebration, on lackadaisical feeling about basketball. And I think that's awesome. I think that has been throughout this whole process the best part of Victor Wembanyama. Obviously, that was a huge part of them celebrating the championship or the Western Conference championship. And we can get more into that, Patrick, because I'm sure that meant more to you. But as an atheist here in the world, I feel like I was honestly very, very proud of that sort of response, and mostly because it has been just a continuous effort. Like, this isn't just him reacting one time like this. It's just who this dude is.
Yeah, and in terms of like him just trying to get the fans into it and stuff, it's funny thinking about all these European players who've played over there first in just these wild ass environments, and they come here and it's just like going, probably feels like you're just at like a chess match or something. It's like
a lot of times they've made themselves public enemy number one because they will go off and say things like playing in Europe is better than playing in the NBA, or basically they'll get sort of misrepresented in what they're trying to say. But it's really less of that about them making fun of the player they're playing against and more of them poking fun at us, the fan, in the stands.
Yeah, and so he's at least trying to take that and use it, and it seems to have reignited the city after it's long it's been so long since we were good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was going to be hard to revitalize the spirit of San Antonio.
It was not, but it's nice that he's into it.
I think it's also super useful that he's not bucking his head against a trend, or against a city that isn't like kind of already like, Oklahoma's done great, and it's not necessarily because those people are that much better. A lot of it's because they have a small building right now.
I mean, honestly, it's the same reason the Spurs are good. It's the only team.
Right. It's the reason the Kings are one of the saddest things in sports, because those people put so much love and effort into that team, and they just never get rewarded.
The only thing more sad is the team that plays baseball currently in Sacramento but doesn't actually have a home.
Yeah. that team also, but at least that team has like this stupid like Cowboys-ish remember the history.
They do have a bunch of
in brand.
They've done well for a couple different stretches.
So I think that's their saving grace for the Kings. I mean, the Kings have a championship from the 50s, man, in Rochester, New York. So it's tough. Either way, excited about the Spurs and what they're doing. At the same time, I'm super excited that we're talking about the New York Knicks as well. I mean, this is already a city ready to get in over its head, and then they're playing, I guess more or less the main character of the NBA now. I mean, it's hard to give someone that after just one season. As you could tell, Shea sort of just got it ripped from him. It really is sort of getting close to the wrestling, the way of giving people the title and ripping it away, and giving them the title and ripping it away. We've kind of seen a lot of guys come and go since we were talking about the big three, I guess. I guess for a long time there, it was just sort of Curry, KD, LeBron, and then you would have your Giannis, and then Giannis kind of disrupted that. Nikola disrupted that. I think Luka's disrupted that to some extent, but on a lesser note. You just have had a lot of these these guys kind of come at that throne. But it does feel like it's the most likely scenario that Victor can hold on to that mantle longer than the rest of his peers. I think health is still always going to be a very logical concern with him.
We don't know how good Dylan Harper's going to be yet. Carter
I think
Bryant could balloon.
Yeah, no, I think and we've really only talked about one Spur here so far, and I'm glad because there's a lot more to unpack there.
Yeah.
But getting into the Knicks of it all, this is as passionate of a fan base as San Antonio. I would say the only big difference is that obviously there's a celebrity row aspect, but don't sleep on the Spurs celebrity row. Okay,
we got Selena Gomez.
And you guys will have some randos that'll come through, especially if they're like European fucks, just like the basketball guys. There's
I was gonna say our celebrity row is just Tim Duncan and David Robinson in the seats.
And it's like Wemby is honestly a funny character because it was always kind of obvious that he wanted to play for the Spurs throughout the process, and it's not a secret why. It's just Tony obviously was a big part of it, but I think it was more about just European guys. I think Luka probably would have wanted to play for the Spurs. I think if you poll any of them, they probably would name Spurs before they name Lakers or Heat or whatever the other sexy teams that our media always gets excited about.
Maybe I gotta think there's some guys that are just like I would kill to play anywhere on like in California.
I think that the European way of basketball is very difficult to translate to the American game because San Antonio has truly been the only team fully invested in playing team basketball for really as long as anybody has known them, since they were a complete dumpster fire of franchise, in the 80s. So I think that helps a lot because everywhere else you've had to see heliocentric superstar hero ball basketball or some version of it, even the Warriors to some extent. So I do think that they've just managed to cultivate that. So I think those players know that they can play within a system. It makes it easier, especially because they don't understand, like they literally don't understand the culture or language of their teammates as much as they don't necessarily agree with the way they play basketball, which might be the case as well. So it's just one of those things where I think that it's just obvious that San Antonio is going to be the easiest place for you to blend, and grow. But I think Oklahoma City is close to actually mimicking that because Presti came from that. Like I do think that a lot of their success is tied to the reality that they can sort of plug and play and probably will continue to plug and play as they go.
And I don't think anyone's built up a better team / draft stock at the same time as what they're rolling with.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but like I said, so we have great fan bases here. We have really important teams to the league history. They have played once before in a finals, arguably the least cared about finals in history, and that's just to be fair to the historians.
Sorry we kicked that ass.
It was also a team that was, it was where Bill Simmons coined the Ewing theory that's now kind of infamous. I think Larry Johnson, who was the best player on that Knicks team? Maybe Grandmama at the end of it. But I don't even think Larry Johnson would have been the best player on that team at all. Because Pat, by that point, obviously, we're not talking about Pat. Anyway, Spurs handle business.
Oh, of course. Rick Brunson. Marcus Camby.
Yeah, he was on the team. Okay, Camby was probably one of the better players for sure. Yeah.
Chris Dudley.
Oof.
Ben Davis, Latrell Sprewell, Larry Johnson.
Spree, yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think that team had a lot of talent and maybe could have actually won a championship or competed for it against a Spurs team that was still sort of building into itself had they had a fully healthy Pat Ewing, but they didn't.
Yeah, that'll hurt.
So either way, we're looking at a completely different situation here because with the Knicks, we've had a team who came into this season being a finals favorite or a contender for the finals. They did not quite live up to the hype. Lots of moments of this season were more marred in kind of nitpicking the moves that helped them build the roster they currently have. But ultimately, whether they had a choice or not, they stayed with it. Now this group is melded incredibly well. They've just come off one of the most dominant playoff runs that I think has literally ever been recorded in NBA history. There's some context there with the Eastern Conference, and certainly the Spurs or the Thunder would have had to gone through a much more difficult path to get to where they are today.
Still got to win all those games, though, and they did.
Look, the Knicks had an early start to this playoff where we were a little like, okay, guys, I think they were down 2-1 against the Hawks, or I think that
Sounds right.
They went down 2-1 against the Hawks, and then it was pedal to the metal. And they went down 2-1 against the Hawks. And so after that, they've just been railing through people, and Jalen Brunson is incredible. And I think that the length of Wemby is obviously going to make everybody play pretty bad. But Jalen Brunson is figured out a mythology to basketball that almost rivals the work ethic and the intensity you get from Wemby. And so I do find that physically we're talking about two different players, right? Jalen Brunson has been often criticized for not being a true number one because he's not big enough, right? Defensively, he can't hold his own, where Wemby doesn't have any of those problems at all. So it is an interesting concept there because I get where people want to write off Brunson's impact and how it can be minimalized. I think that just the same way that if Wemby's having a poor night, he's still impacting the game the most by energy and effort. That's the way I feel about Jalen Brunson. He's an incredibly cerebral player at this point. Like he's basically taking Chris Paul's game to a whole nother level. Like I think he is the true evolution of Chris Paul at this point.
He's the actual point guard.
I mean, at this point, Jalen Brunson, if he wins the championship for the Knicks, then it's over. Yeah, point guard name is gone. They're gonna make sure of that shit. And I think I love the team around him. So when you talk about this matchup, I get really excited. I think that there's an easy inclination to just give it to the Spurs. And I still think that's statistically and probably odds makers are all sort of pointing in that same direction.
I haven't even looked at anything.
But I'm very hopeful that we're about to see maybe one of the best NBA finals we've seen since, dare I say, Bucks Suns in 01, I think, or 21 was probably the best I think we've had recently. Last year was good. Last year was really good.
And up until it sucks because the injury happens midway through Game 7 and just takes the wind out of all of the sails of the whole thing, except for Thunder fans. But
we've just had these wet farts. Like there was 2 times the Heat made the finals where they were just sort of like, oh, what a beautiful thing that's come out of the it's in the bubble, so people are already not wanting to give credit. It's the Lakers, so they really don't want to give it credit. And then it's the Nuggets, and then now we're sort of in this point where we're very close to writing that off also as more of a one-off, and that was considered the best starting 5 in the league in Denver, and now we're super past that point.
No, I think this one should be fun, and they've been a team that matched up well against us in the season. Obviously, the couple times we did play them. Obviously, this is a rematch of the NBA in-season tournament cup final.
NBA Cup is what you can call it, but it is the in-season tournament that gets you to the NBA Cup.
The NBA Cup. So that's kind of funny. It's the first time, obviously, that's happened. Haven't been too many opportunities for it to happen, but
no, I think
women played three times.
I think did Oklahoma not pull it off last year?
Whoever they played wouldn't have been whoever they played in the
the Pacers I think won the cup last year and then still made the championship round. Either way, it has been close. So you were talking about Reddit was talking about the legitimacy of this. If you track it, I think there has actually been a fairly good record. Like I think at least most of the in-season tournament NBA Cup games have panned out.
Yeah, if they can continue like that, I think fans will pick up and watch it more.
And you're right, though. I did not remember this particular season. That might just say more about me than anything else. But I think it is ultimately awesome that this is a rematch, and hopefully it shows that this is going to continue to happen. Spurs were a little surprising this year, but not super surprising. We knew they were a playoff team. We just didn't realize playoffs for them
didn't-
meet differently than others.
I just don't think anyone thought all 3 20-year-olds are just going to be pretty chill about it and get better as the playoffs went on.
And I just think that even De'Aaron Fox has really done what he can to exist in this weird role and
Been enough.
make it work. Yeah. Luke Cornett, he isn't anything special, but he'll get the job done when you need him.
But he got the LeBron the signature chase down block. So
you do have these.
might have saved the whole series. You don't know.
Even having a guy like Harrison Barnes, and when Caesar and I did this last week, I kind of wrote off all those guys to some extent. And I mean, Harrison didn't matter in that final game, but
Not on the stat sheet.
But you do have a lot of talent there, and you have a lot of wisdom on the roster. Obviously, we need to talk a little bit about the goon behavior. Vic loves his chicken wings, as we know. This man is getting very close to Draymond levels when it comes to this elbow. These I get the appendages are much longer, and I get it, but I do feel like we're getting to the point where Victor is gaming the system with the elbows. Okay. There was an atrocious no call in this last game that I don't think it really decided anything.
You mean the one where they called the foul on Hartenstein?
No, where they called it on him for Wemby clearly elbowing him in the face, and they reviewed it on camera and still.
It does look a lot worse in slow mo. I could put some slight thought into he assumed that he'd be getting up to run after him maybe, but he didn't do anything to not hit him in the face, so that's for sure.
I just think that if we're watching closely here, there's a consistent pattern with the elbows with Mr. Wembanyama. So not a big deal. I've argued that
in the offseason he'll learn a new dirty move.
Yeah, I've argued that it's very good because there's already a good chance that he's going to have to face what Wilt and Kareem faced, being so much bigger. Even Shaq, I think, to some extent.
Yeah, for sure.
But Shaq, it was a little different because Shaq's personality was so much lights, camera, action that I think he actually got a 50-50 split. But I think Kareem and Wilt Chamberlain are remembered amazingly today. But in their actual playing days, they were most often looked at as the main villain of the story. I mean, seriously, almost all, and then I do think Wemby will end up being the villain of the NBA to most fans because it's just, first of all, it's just very unfair what he does. But second of all, he clearly studied very well with Christopher Paul last year.
Yeah, man. Obviously, it worked out. We're in the finals. I'm surprised they didn't give Paul one more year with this team. I guess they knew better than we did that they were ready to go. But
yeah, well, I think Chris had a tough season, tough exit to the league here.
I mean, we shouldn't completely dismiss the impact of having Biyombo just on the bench to talk to Wemby the entire time, because that was like every time out, at least in the last few games. That's who he was going to see.
Or to go punch Josh Hart in the mouth next round.
Look, hey, I'm not condoning it.
Break another finger for Mitch Robinson. And
then obviously there's the iconic Harper sliding in and up behind Castle to hold him down so he doesn't go try to fight Caruso on what should have been a flagrant one at least.
That one I didn't. So I had to explain that one to my Indian stepfather because he's not quite with. So I would have not called that a flagrant because that is I just don't know what else defenders are allowed. It's a hard foul. If you grab the arms only and bring them down with some effort to not slam them, that's a clean hard foul. That's the way I've always understood the rule.
That's not what.
But he didn't bounce. He didn't go hard. He literally just dragged him down by the arms. He had him by his arm and he had him by his hand right there.
Was he not up under him?
He had him by the elbow right here, and then or by the armpit, and then he had him by the arms. It was a clean hard foul, and the guy's bigger than him. That's what you're supposed to do.
You're supposed to throw him forward.
No, you're literally supposed to grab arms so they can't finish the and one because at that point he's already got the and one. So you hard foul and you make them earn it at the line. That's a classic basketball play. It has been forever. And all the real rule says is that you can't basically Ed Reed a motherfucker. If you take somebody out like with too much force and like they're like bounce off the ground, that is typically when we've seen the rule called. For
He did bounce off the ground.
He did not bounce off the ground that hard. Like
Castle?
they literally just grabbed him and brought him to the ground. Yeah, it was Castle. Yeah, I think he said to Cellular. Yeah, it was Castle.
Yeah, he slid far enough away that he couldn't even reach him with his arms.
Always slip. What do you mean they fall and slide every time they fall? I don't. That one was crazy to me. Like, and I'm sorry. Like, I really don't think that that's objective. I think that it's
I think it's one thing if you just bring him down, but he pulls him over to the side from the top. Like that's
just momentum. He's not like doing anything. He literally is just grabbing arms and pulling him down. And that's the momentum that they both fell with. Like, I'm actually laughing at how much that was called. And like, I don't understand the argument that wasn't just a hard foul.
But anyways, it gave us the nice moment of Harper coming in there to calm Castle down. And that was
really, and none of these things really mattered because I think that there was,
well, it would have mattered. It would have mattered if he got up and got himself a technical or ejected. You know what I mean? Which, well, again, he runs a little hot. So
I think Steph Castle also needs to understand that, and probably did, that is again a very common basketball play. Like, I think we used to talk about this a lot because people would get really fucking crazy with LeBron, but they could only do so much to LeBron that we kind of let a lot go with those hard fouls because you kind of had to like tackle LeBron, you know. And that's fucked up. And he's complained about that a lot. Like, he's actually said many times how bullshit it was that people could hard foul him the way they did.
The opposite of the MJ rules.
Yeah. Well, it was like, but it was also like, I also don't know how to do, again, a very common play when you're screwed defensively. A hard foul is the exact right answer because a coach is going to bench you if you soft foul because that's almost always an and one. So that's why I just agree with that. And I don't ever want to do anything to make players scared to hard foul in those situations because they should be playing with effort. And when you get beat, that's your only move defensively. I want to see you exhaust all strategy. That's how I know you're competing. But the damning thing with the Spurs won 3-1 in the regular season, right? Over the Thunder.
Sounds right.
I think it was 3-1. I think it was like a fairly decent like thumping, and we kind of all wrote it off. I did too. I think there might have been some healthier versions of the Thunder.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember.
But there also might not have been a Wemby in some of those games, so I don't know. But I know that they did that. And then there was an interesting thing that we started noticing even in this series. When the Thunder won, there was a lot of kind of special stuff happening from another guy. Obviously, SGA was was on a good night, was getting his shots. But then there was kind of one or two others that were really excelling. What we were noticing about the Spurs when they were winning is that it was like 20 points every time except for the first one. And I think that sort of got pushed to the back a little bit because I think most of us kept saying, but J-Dub will be healthier. Oh, but, AJ Mitchell will come back. Or, Chet Holmgren's not going to play this badly all the time. Like, we've seen so much evidence of Oklahoma City. They're going to snap out of it. And ultimately they didn't, and there was clearly a large bit of strategy favoring the Spurs by the end of that 7-game series.
Yeah, Mitch, give credit to Mitch, first-year head coach in the finals. Pretty crazy.
Give credit to him for the energy he brings as well. Like, we talk about Wemby a lot, but I think that he's kind of the perfect middle ground between Joe Mazzulla's annoyingness and
him dadding Carter Bryant.
Yeah, and there's so much vanilla when it comes to coaches in the NBA. It's either vanilla and just really vanilla, or vanilla but tries to seem cooler like Mazzulla. And I think you guys got a guy that's perfectly in that 50-50 split.
Hey, there's a reason the org picked him. I trust them to make that choice. So
big ass decision to make, and we thought they threw it on a guy that was going to. I honestly was half expecting Mitch Johnson to get his ass fired before they replaced him with someone more serious. And so, all respect to him. Yeah. All respect.
Yeah, they seem to figure some stuff out. They made some. Obviously, there's multiple adjustments in a 7-game series. And then getting Fox back obviously really just lightened the load on everybody else. We went from turning the ball over, it felt like every other play, to like every 5th play now.
No, and that part's still going to be a part of it, and it's really why I think the Knicks do have a great chance to win this series, is because I do think there is a more uniformly built team in New York, and they are more appropriate ages for the task at hand. That doesn't necessarily mean jack shit.
No, I think their shooters are more consistent for sure than what we
And like I
saw
said,
from most of Oklahoma City.
it's really about what they feel like they have the answer to the Wemby problem. Because there's two good things that they have going for them. Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson. Now, it doesn't necessarily seem like that, and there's a great chance that Wemby could play both those guys into a bad position.
Well, I was going to say, if I remember correctly, OG was covering Wemby for half the time.
Yeah, but that's not my point. It's not coverage. We got big bodies.
Okay.
That means Victor Wembanyama's ability to foul drastically increases. And if I can get either of those guys, like if I'm Mitchell Robinson with a broken hand especially, and I already can't do jack shit offensively, yeah, I'm going – my number one goal when I go in there is – it's really rebounding as much as anything. But
Drawing Wemby fouls.
truly making Wemby have to be smart about every action he makes defensively, because that is going to be the biggest strategy you can take advantage of. And Josh Hart will also be trying to do that. You know, they have a lot of guys who have finally figured out their role perfectly. And I think they've finally been healthy enough to realize it. And then the worst part about it, for when you're talking about how deadly the Knicks could be, is that they do have the guy that can pull them out of bullshit. And he has in this playoff over and over again. Jalen Brunson has been incredible. So, you know, it's going to be fun. I think that, you know, I don't know that we necessarily need to stack rosters together and go line by line, but this is fun. I mean, you have a bunch of guards and the big guy with the Spurs, and then you have a very, very traditional NBA roster build in New York, and you have that's kind of where all players that play are sort of luxury items at their own position. Like Jalen Brunson is sort of your luxury item one, and then Karl Anthony Towns is a really luxury item two, and OG Anunoby is a great three, and it's, you know,
Cat more than the Thunder bigs can at least force Wemby out to cover him outside a little bit.
Yeah, no, and Cat is going to be the most important player for the Knicks by a country mile. There is no one more important to the Knicks' chances than Karl Anthony Towns, because he has the whole fate of the series in his hands. Now, I think we're already going to see a drastic improvement or drastic change in the basketball we just saw from the Spurs on the fact that I do trust Karl to take those shots. I know we've trolled him a lot for making the Dirk comments, you know, but at the end of the day, Karl does have a place next to Dirk if he earns it, you know. And I think Dirk has even said that, you know, we're like, Karl could be better than him, and he just hasn't done it yet consistently enough. And so this is the opportunity. This is it, man. And it's New York. You are a king of basketball for fucking ever if you win this championship. Like, unequivocally.
But why be a king when you could be an alien?
Yeah, I mean, official predictions, I don't know where you want to go from here.
I gotta say Spurs in 6.
It's probably
But I
what I'm leaning at right
But I
now.
think there's no outcome I'm surprised of outside of a Knicks full-on sweep.
Even that I could probably figure out how that happened, but no, I think
Sort of,
that,
you know, obviously, yeah, all things equal, everyone on the court.
no, not even health involved. I do think there is some level of potential where the Spurs were both great and opportunistic with the position the Thunder found themselves in this season.
Fair enough, yeah.
And that's just the scenario I think would happen there is maybe we have overrated the Spurs a little bit too much because the Thunder actually took a bigger step back than we thought was possible. Even though it was a great series, there is a part of it where I guess, okay, if the Spurs were to really flake out in this round, then that's probably what it was. But I don't even think that's possible, because I think worst comes to worst for the Spurs, it's Knicks in 6, right? Like, I really don't think that there's a way for the Knicks to be that perfect against him. Like he just clearly has shown to where if his body will give him 45 minutes,
it just feels like it's getting better every time I see him. It's just a little better.
Well, it is, and it's part of why when Season I talked about it, I picked the Thunder to win in 7 still, because I thought, do we have enough evidence to say that Wemby's body's ready to continue to do these near 50-minute nights back to back to back, more or less? So this is a big step for him.
He only had to play like 3 quarters in Game 7 because of his foul trouble, and then he got a couple extra days off here. So this is kind of a situation where I almost feel like it's like you didn't have to play a Game 7 then immediately turn around and play. So you got rest, but they've had more time to rust. So hopefully you get a little early.
Yeah, you kind of hope too, if on the other side, like that the extended rest of the Knicks got kind of leads to them coming out a little cold, right? Yeah. Kind of having to get their feet back underneath them. But you know, I'm gonna give my official prediction, fellas. All right. So you guys are giving me a lot of the analytical, the strategic, the matchups here. Listen, I'm going to go strictly off the vibe of the city. I got the Knicks in 7. Mamdanistan, all right. Sharia law cannot take over the fanatics that are the New York Knicks fans, okay? That city will be burned to the ground in the most positives of ways you've ever seen if they were to win a Game 7. All right. Dolan's Madison Square Garden will come tumbling down, and that entire surveillance network, because the fans will just bring it down in celebration.
Thankfully, the game won't be there. They'll just be wild out on their own.
The game won't be there, but like the celebration will be there.
Yeah.
Sure. It is unfortunate that we have to wait. No offense to San Antonio, obviously. I do feel really bad for San Antonio to some extent here, because there is a fun part of this that is, hey, this has been one of the more foundational teams of the recent time of this new era, this post-Jordan era, and this has been a foundational fan base. Even the banter with Chuck is a big part of the whole kind of lore of the NBA at this point.
I don't think anyone in San Antonio minds that. We don't want to be. We're just like, cool, we'll still win. See you later.
No, and I get that to some extent, but there is just so much amusement in anticipation with Game 3 at this point. Like, Game 3 might be one of the most anticipated basketball games in a very long time. Because honestly, the 99 Knicks did not have a fucking shot, and their team had been pretty good that whole decade. So there wasn't this whole 20-something year just misery fest and embarrassment slog that they've had to go to get back to this point. So it actually is incredible. Like, even if they get dusted in the first 2 games, that shit is still going to be electric, okay? And I am excited to see it. I am also excited to see if the Knicks fans will travel to San Antonio. I mean, this is not a non-possible. I mean, they won't be able to overtake. But I wouldn't be surprised if
there's plenty already there.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's that too. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Game 2 maybe win for the Knicks. So then you just start to, and maybe it's a blowout, and you start to see more orange in the crowd than black at that point.
Hey, whatever, Fiesta.
Well,
buddy.
They've also been joking about Knick fans are going to away games because it's cheaper than going to the actual game.
My God,
you can fly to San Antonio, get a hotel, enjoy yourself, and go to the game.
Buy a house.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I think I'll probably go ahead and go Spurs in 6. Always going to hope for 7, no matter who.
I don't know if I can do that again.
I am really, I am really only trying to be logical to the reality that sometimes a player like Wembanyama can come through and just really disrupt timelines. And when it is also sort of encapsulated by this ecosystem we trust in the Spurs, and all these players who have developed well. We didn't even mention Keldon Johnson's name, and he hit 2 of the biggest 3-pointers of all
Yeah,
time.
it's literally Champagny had just an insane
Champagny,
game.
yeah. The whole season I've been talking about how they got to replace the Champagny job next season and now they're rolling. And now
games
going
1 through
after
4 were some of the worst I've ever seen him play, but
they might still have to replace Champagny. Move him to the bench. He just is the more appropriate bench role. So yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a really fun team, top to bottom. Really, I think Fox seems like an outlier just because I still don't really. I don't. It feels just from a vibe standpoint of what's happening on the court feels weird when he's out there handling everything by himself when Wemby's not there. Basically, that still feels weird to me. But I like it because he's somehow still one of the fastest people on the face of the earth. At least on a basketball court, but
I also think the really beautiful part of De'Aaron being a part of this championship team is it does actually make them a little more viable, because I think for De'Aaron, he's a smart guy.
Yeah, we're obviously better when he's playing. It's a weird shift in what the game feels like.
It's a weird fit, and even if you win the championship, it's still not a guarantee that he's long term. You know.
Oh, also worth pointing out. So last year we saw Halliburton in the NBA Finals. This year we're getting De'Aaron Fox and Mike Brown. So the Kings fans are just not having a good time.
And actually, that's another good person. I'm really excited for Mike Brown to have this opportunity. I think probably one of the least respected names in coaching, and yet one of the most
wild.
Really done a great job. Obviously, rose to power with the Spurs, so I think that's also part of it. And of course, don't mess with the Sohan is a double agent now.
Hey, yeah, I now have 2 jerseys for an NBA ring owner. I don't know how you what you actually call them, because he doesn't necessarily have to be a champion to get that ring. So
right, yeah. I wonder if he accepts it if it's a Spurs ring.
Oh, I think he would. Why wouldn't?
I don't know.
I think he would.
Some guys I think more guys have declined those in the past than accepted them.
I feel like, I don't know, just because of the vibes. I think there's no question we'd offer him one, and I don't think there's a question if he'd take it. I think he'd like to have that.
Yeah, probably.
He's a huge part of this thing.
Yeah, probably so.
And I'm pretty sure he's probably still friends with a bunch of the dudes.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point, that's really all there is to say about the series. You know, I mean, Mitchell Robinson is playing. That was pretty much the only injury thing.
Well, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can use the hand or not. But
it doesn't matter. His hands have never been useful to him in basketball prior to this.
It's a crazy thing to say.
I'm serious, man. I just don't know what to say. Like it's just we're talking about Mitchell Robinson broken finger like it's gonna matter, and like I think a lot of people are like, there's like a litmus test going on right now of people trying to game this. You know, well, I don't know if the Knicks have it because if Mitchell Robinson, it's like, this man basically has been playing with a broken finger since he got into the league. Okay, there is nothing this doesn't change things that much. Okay, and that's why I'm not surprised to learn he's playing.
Not Stoudemire punching glass.
There's no jumper to worry about here, and they can shoot him up with something every time he blocks a shot and hurts it. But yeah, so it's gonna be a fun series. You get a little GTA. I'm hoping he gets to crack the rotation for this. I think he should, since there's so many guards. Knicks probably, if they end up winning, maybe GTA ends up being a big part of that because he could maybe really fuck up Harper. You know, I mean, he's a smart, heady guy. He's just small. I think if Alvarado was a bigger guy, he'd probably be a much more of a lock to be a role player for everybody in the league. Instead, he's sort of a hired gun at this point, but I think it's a great opportunity for him there. So a lot of like there. Landry, Shamet. Yeah, if Shamet keeps shooting 70%, y'all are definitely fucked. That's true. Yeah, I mean, anybody could tell you that.
If any single human being is shooting 70%, then you're probably fucked.
Shamet's numbers in that Cleveland series got absolutely bonkers, bro. Like bonkers. He had 2K games regularly. I don't even know if I could do that shit on 2K. So yeah, the Knicks have a lot of positive. They're not quite simple to write off.
Yeah.
I think if they would have beat the Celtics going into this, if they would have had the Celtics throughout this, I think people would care more. But because it was the Hawks, I think people didn't respect the Hawks as much as they should have. Then I think the Sixers were just dead in the water by the time they got to the Knicks, and then I think Cleveland just Cleveland had game 1 and then they lost it, and then there was no more series. So we shall see. We've all done official picks, so
Yes.
all right.
Yes.
All right, we'll see who's right. In my heart, I'm hoping Knicks, but I feel in my head Spurs and 6.
Never lost or something.
I've seen the Spurs win a lot, man. I'm just, like, it's not novel. There's no novelty, and then you have Wemby.
Novelty. It's the most novel human creation to ever play the game.
You have, but Wemby's not going anywhere. Like the Knicks don't win this one, that might be it.
Every window closes, and you never know when it's gonna happen. You gotta win the ones you got right in front of you.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
We only got one with Kawhi, okay?
This Wembanyama motherfucker. Yeah, but this Wembanyama motherfucker isn't from LA.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get back home.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, unless anyone has anything else to add, that might be it for this week. Keep your eyes peeled for the Texas Rangers potentially winning more games. Both of our local basketball and hockey teams getting away, and other stuff's going to happen with football.
Pagey buckets.
There you go.
Page buckets.
What's up, motherfucker? Say that, I'm crazy. Sometimes feel like I'm crazy.